Hello, everyone. Travis here. I'm about a week out from the start of LCS Season 4, LCS, 2014, I guess is what they're calling it. I'm joined by Alex Penn. We just had a delicious dinner at an Italian restaurant with Team Coast. Alex, I got to ask you, what the hell were you doing here with Team Coast?
I joined the team a week ago as a coach. I moved into the house in Southern California. So that was a lengthy traveling from Austin because I was off for 2 months in between jobs. Because as people know, I left Cloud9. So I'm here now. Just trying to get the team focused and ready for the first week.
Very good. Okay, so after the long anticipated wait of what the hell is going to happen to Alex Penn next, we find out that now you're with Coast. So you said you're a coach. Obviously, like the analyst coach term, sometimes vague. What exactly will your responsibilities be with the team?
First of all, I live with the team. I'm the only staff position that non-player position that lives with the team full time. As our owner David lives across the country and has another full-time job. So I will be able to be there as like his eyes and ears. First off, also I will be there to work on the scrim schedule, their daily schedule. Assist them in anything they need. Mentally talk about problems. Kind of be the buffer between players. If things need to be worked out or issues, try to be more the bad guy so that they don't have to argue with each other. Because you want an environment where they can interact and like critique each other, but you don't want them stepping on each other's feet. So like I can be that guy that if someone needs to talk about champ pools, I can bring that up or stuff like that. And along with that, just providing just different exercises to focus the team. Like what do we need to focus on practicing? What do we need to focus on improving? When it comes to champ pool level 1, 2v1s, all of that stuff. Helping go over replays and just really like focus the team.
So when we spoke shortly after your departure from Cloud9 on Who's League, you mentioned that you did not want to be joining any team in a situation where you would be less than an authority figure, because you had said you felt like you didn't have enough authority on Cloud9, or at least for your taste. So do you think that this is going to be a different situation for you on Coast?
I definitely think going in, I worked with the team during December a little bit during relegation, and we have like a mutual respect, and that is definitely like a huge step forward for me. Like we only had Skype meetings because I was in Austin, but like that one meeting we talked about just preparing picks and bans and going through stuff, like we just clicked, and we everybody's feedback, we worked off of each other, and it just like it seemed to be the perfect fit for my next move.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. You mentioned that you helped them out during relegation in December. It's been a while since we've done a show together. It's also been a while since I've done an interview with you or you've done an interview with anyone. So let me ask you about what you've been up to the past couple of months. I mean, so you helped out Coast. Anything else that you had done in the past couple of months?
Yeah, so I went back to Austin at the end of October, and I just spent time with my family and friends and, having fun. And then starting in December, I was working with EG to prepare for promotion. A week into that, Coast also offered me to just work only on research specifically for them. So I was doing both of those for EG. I was watching their scrims and contributing a little bit more, along with doing research for picks and bans. But that was remotely, which is a lot harder, in my opinion, to work with a team remotely is just... I honestly haven't experienced it much. So like my experience with working remotely is very limited because I joined C9 with my first team, and I joined that straight up just moving into their house. So I could say that I could probably have done that job like a little bit better. I wouldn't say I'm like the greatest at doing remote research and contribute to the team because it's a lot easier to have face-to-face meetings and conversations. So I was working for both of those teams in the promotion. So the promotion tournament was more of like I was rooting for both of those teams. So I had stressful matchups, 2 days in a row. But then David from Coast approached me, and he wanted me on as a full time. He listened into our meeting we had over picks and bans, and he thought we just worked together, and he liked my approach. So through the rest of December, I was in discussions with him, and I ended up signing my contract on New Year's Eve. So that was pretty exciting, getting to sign my contract and then go out to party.
So let me ask you: is the contract? Are we looking at like a year or a split? What's the duration of the contract? How long should we expect to see you with Coast?
Right. So right now my contract is it's just for the split. So it's just the spring split till the end of April, which I think the last weekend of April would be promotion. Uh, and then after that, it's either renegotiate or look at other offers. Maybe go somewhere else or maybe go do something else. I don't know right now, but for a job like this where the amount of money that sponsors are giving and stuff like that is like changing so much rapidly, locking yourself in for a whole year on a certain salary I think is not ideal, just because things are changing so quickly. Like there were no coaches at this time last year, so it's more of a, I don't know, I feel like it's a good move on both sides because we don't know if it's going to work for me with the team or it's just a interesting situation coaching in general.
Well, I assume it's not even just salary based because everything changes so much. Like the players could change or the teams could change in LCS, any number of different things. So I can imagine why you'd want to stick to just the 4 months. So did you have any other offers after you left Cloud9? Like, was this sort of you were looking for something and this just came at the right time, or was it an option that you picked out of a couple different ones?
I had a few teams approach me. As I said, I already worked with EG a little bit, but I ended up going with Coast. I just found it a better fit for me personally. But I applied and first another job, a couple of other jobs that I went through some part of the application process, but unfortunately they didn't go anywhere. And I was approached by some other teams, some challenger teams that didn't really seem like the right fit for me going forward. But overall, it was kind of stressful, but it ended up working out, so I'm pretty happy.
So tell me why Coast? So you said that you feel Coast is a good fit. I'd love to know why in particular you think Coast will work for you.
I mean, just going off of our December preparation, I really like the attitude that the players have. They're all super hardworking. They just want to win so badly. And everybody was talking really well. The Coast owner David was telling me that they're a super quiet team, right? Even in game, and we were just going on with picks and bans and doing everything, and I was just really satisfied with how that went. The new 80 carry Wiz, I think he's bringing the team together, getting them to talk more. He was being a very vocal leader during that meeting when it came to everything about picks and bans, and I was really pleased with how that works because half the game is the preparation for that, and that's what I love to do. So it was fun, and that was a very stressful promotion game to watch. I watched the first game, and then there was the 2.5 hour delay. And I had dinner with friends up from out of town, and I had to go to dinner. So I was checking my phone frantically, and my phone died right after they won. And I was like, oh yes, it was an interesting experience. But yeah, I just really like the guys, and they're super hardworking and really good at what they do, and they just want to continue to get better.
Now, obviously, Elements was a coach for Coast previously. I think to some extent his presence was a little bit quieter. A lot of people aren't necessarily familiar with a lot of the things that he did. I'm curious if you have any insight into what his role was on the team, only because I'd love to know maybe how you will differ in your approach from what Elements was able to do for the team.
From what I understand and what I've been told, he ran it more of a high school football style, where he was an actual coach and told them more of what to play. Where for me, it's more of the players need to find out what I don't want to give them the answers. I want them to define the answers themselves. My approach is way more hands off, and obviously they're the pro player first, and we don't have coaches that are the pro players at this point. Maybe in 5 to 6 years we'll have stuff where, in StarCraft, where there's pros from the beginning of the 2000s that are around. And some of those professionals have transferred over into League. We've seen it in Korea quite a bit, but that experience isn't really here right now. So being a bit more hands off, but being able to encourage and just focus the team in the right direction. Make sure they're just improving and looking to improve in the right ways.
Now, speaking of that, obviously, Wiz Fusion, I believe I'm pronouncing it correct. Am I?
Yeah, I believe it's a very tricky name.
Wiz Fusion. So he's a new person that we're going to be seeing on the team in 2014. What are your experiences with him? What can people expect to see from him Just a little bit about the player. Obviously I'm going to try and do an interview with him as well, but
Yeah, he's kind of a goofy kid, but like he's really hardworking. He's really good. I think he has 2 accounts in the top 30 right now in Challenger, and he's like trying to get more. He's like, I want to beat Turtle, but I don't have enough accounts. So he's like waiting on those Riot accounts so he could actually like try to get as many. But he's like really mechanically talented, and I think that he makes some good calls in game. Like he sometimes a lot of players don't see a call where he'll be like, oh, let's grab this dragon, and everyone's like, oh, of course we should have grabbed that dragon, but why didn't anyone say it? Like just one of those calls where you're like, yeah, duh, but nobody said it out loud for some reason. I think he's gonna bring like he's really gonna shape the team, like just bring it all in, and I'm looking forward to the season a lot.
Very good. Well, the final question I have, so sort of as we wrap this up, is you spent the second half of 2013 with Cloud9, first half of 2014 at least will be with Coast. Does that mean anytime we see Cloud9 and Coast queue up, fans watching can know that there's a bit of a rivalry going on inside of you as you're watching from the audience?
I mean, I love the Cloud9 guys, but I mean the rivalry might be there. I don't know. I honestly don't know yet because it hasn't happened. And I mean, I saw all the Cloud9 guys when I traveled back because I left my car and some things up in San Jose, so I flew there and then drove down to SoCal. And it wasn't really awkward. It was more, we hadn't seen each other in like 2.5 months, so it was, I'm still friends with them, and it should be fun. I'm excited for the matchup because I think we can take games off of them. So it'll be interesting. I think the fans are under expecting the performance that that Coast is gonna be able to do this season.
Very good. Hey, you have any shout-outs, anything you want to say here at the end for all the massive amount of Alex Penn fans that are out there? I think 80% women is the demographic. Anything you want to say to any of those?
I mean, thank you guys for following me and asking me what I'm doing next all the time. Like, I may not respond to you on Twitter that often, but just to know that you guys care where I'm going and what I'm doing next is like incredibly supportive, and it wants me to keep improving, and I love that.
Very good. Well, hey, thank you so much for the interview. Looking forward to seeing you at the studio now that you're in Southern California, and we can hang out sometimes. Yeah, exactly. At least we don't have to hang out with Nick Allen. So looking forward to seeing you. Interested to see what you're able to push Coast to this season. Best of luck. For everyone, you can check out the rest of our coverage leading up to LCS and whenever LCS starts at ongamers.com.